Eriador is diminished. The time of the Eldar is fading, and the deeds of the men of the West are preserved only in their ruins. The shadow of a fear of ages past threatens all the free peoples of Middle-earth. And yet, hope remains. For in the hearts of unlikely folk is the strength to wander through shadow kept. And only thence can they come to the morning. And though the road is long and treacherous and full of peril, it is a road that these companions must travel. And only through strength of loyalty, friendship, and hope can they overcome the obstacles ahead. May the goodwill of elves, men, and all free folk go with them. After a night's respite and a modest apple orchard along the greenway, the company continues their journey south, then west towards Lond Daer. Between the company and their destination stands Tharbad, a city of old, tall, and spanning the Grey Flood. Rumor has it that Tharbad is under new lordship.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Fear of Ages Past. I am Moss, I am the lore master, and these wonderful people around me are my beautiful, beautiful cast. We'll go around and we'll say hello to everyone. We'll just kind of go down and around. Michaela, how are you?
Doing okay. I've been driving a lot, so busy.
That's good. The life of a trucker is a tough one.
I'm not a trucker. I drive Lyft.
What's your road name? You know, like Smokey the Bandit. What's your call sign?
It's Rubber Ducky.
Yeah, what's your name? Rubber Ducky.
It's just Michaela. Lyft isn't cool like that. We can't.
You make sure you get those pep pills that keep you up all night.
Nah.
Well, Commander, how are you this evening?
I am doing pretty well. Excited to be here yet again. This is always a highlight of my week.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Considering how we left off, which admittedly I completely forgot about. Yeah, hopefully everybody comes out of this unscathed. I think it should be all right. I think we'll be all right. Hopefully, we'll see. JJ, what's going on, man? How are you?
Well, as I am the victim to how we left off the last game, nervous, I guess not.
It won't be too bad. It won't be too bad. Just, impending doom and everything. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, that's just life in Middle-earth.
That's what all the people say.
Yeah.
Frost, how are you?
I'm doing well. And by the way, he's not a victim. He's a target. It's totally different.
No,
Until something happens, he's not a victim.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You could have thought of this, flag colors. I'm doing well. I've had a good day. A lot of stuff got done. Cat sleeping on my lap. All that fun stuff. And now I get to see what happens to Miragar. And then we get to go to hopefully on to Tharbad.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Right on. Yeah, we'll see if you guys make it out of this one. So, when last we left off, Miragar was exploring some old ruins that were left by the roadside as the sun goes down. As he kind of trudges along, the footing seems to be a bit unstable. Now, you're probably going to have to find some shelter for the night to shelter you from the wind and potential rain or whatever elements might come about over the course of the evening. Miragar, this is your chance. I'm going to need an explore roll from you, please.
Hey.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. As you're trudging around these ruins, you see the walls crumbling in. You see, it actually looks as though, as you look down in the waning light, it looks like there is a cellar underneath this floor which you're walking across. And just as you notice this, you feel some of the stone give way. And just as you are about to fall through, you nimbly move to a corner of the room where the floor is still stable, and you see the floor just fall out from underneath, exposing what looks to be a large cellar.
Oh, well. Does it look like whatever has happened, the collapsing is all that's going to collapse, or does it still seem dangerous?
You can give me a scan roll to see if you can perceive any other loose footing or
do
stone or
that.
anything.
Can you though?
Yeah, I mean, with ruins this old, it's a little difficult to tell. And furthermore, as you kind of look around, you look down into the cellar, and it's tough to see much down here, but it looks like there's some old, partially rotted barrels, perhaps some stands with some rusty weapons on it. This building, you would surmise, is probably an old, maybe like a watch station.
Now, is the door to the cellar open, or can I try to open that?
If you look around, you can see that the door to the cellar, it's currently locked, but it is so rotted you could probably just get right through it with a good pull.
Well, maybe I'll go get Thrush or Larry for that. They might be a little bit stronger than me. Yeah, I'll leave the ruins. I'll head back to the party, and I'll tell them kind of what I found. Hey, I found maybe an old watch building of some kind. It's not in the best shape, but there is a cellar. The floor collapsed and revealed it, and there's a door there. It's locked, but I think one of you guys could probably pull it open if you tried.
Oh,
That would keep us out of the weather.
Well, I suppose we can give it a shot. Hopefully no more ceiling collapses on us.
It was the floor, so we should be fine.
Okay, well, lead the way, Miragar.
Just following.
I will bring everybody back to that area.
All right. And so who's going to be opening the door?
I guess it depends on what skill we need.
So it would be an athletics roll.
Okay. I have one not favored in it.
I have 2 not favored.
Yeah, Thrush is mostly concerned that anyone else is going to get hurt. So even if he's not the best at something, he's going to say, "I can try," and just he'll step forward, making sure he's not stepping on any floor pieces that are going to fall out from under us.
Is
And-
Aranel going to help him so he gets 2 extra die?
I can help him. Yeah.
Well, Aranel is his focus.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
True. What would helping require of me? Do I need to make a roll? Or...
No. So basically, you would just be providing the support function.
Okay.
So there's no role required. But what I will say is, given the state of this old cellar door, you look at it and it's just old rotted wood, and you can see that there's an old rusted metal handle attached to it. Looks like almost like what you would guess a storm cellar would be. But given the condition of this wood, I would say you could take an additional success die.
Okay, so athletics with is that 3 success dice or
Yeah, I
2?
guess so.
Yeah.
Very nice.
1, 2.
We're learning.
All right, this is gonna be a lot of dice then.
And they're all
Which is
going to
good.
be Eyes of Sauron.
Hey, well, the success dice can't be eyes of Sauron, luckily. All right, so
Hey!
There we go. Great success.
Nice.
so he tells me
Nice.
where to push and pull, and he does it.
Very
They're
easily.
elf
You
eyes.
can tell that this you can tell that this door was locked from the inside, but with just a quick tug, you see that the wood just gives way and cracks underneath your strength. You pull it wide open and you look and you see there is a dark set of stairs that lead down with cobwebs lining either side of the passage. What would you like to do?
I'm just gonna light a torch and kind of like throw it down the hall.
Okay. And as you were doing that, Thrush was just turning around to Aranel and says, "Your lantern." Never mind.
I forgot she has a lantern now. That was her item she came with.
Yes. Mine is
What?
wind resistant.
Well, what happens? Does the entire complex explode and we die? Because I didn't
Yes.
see all the
Yes.
explosive barrels over there. Excellent.
You hear a slight beeping noise, and the beeping is getting faster.
Curious. Let's go see.
Alright. So
Alright.
you all
Aranel
make
make a scan roll to
Yeah.
see if she can spot anything of interest.
Success.
Very nice. Okay, right on the button. Okay, so you make your way down into these ruins. And based on what you're looking at, it looks like the stonework is probably of Manish make. This may have been an old checkpoint from the Kingdom of Arnor. And as you kind of look around, you can see that this was, in fact, well, at one point, it was filled with old weapons and armor for guards who were stationed here along the road. There's evidence of recent visitors. You see what looks to be a makeshift, kind of like a cooking spit over a small ring of just debris, just fallen rocks and stuff. It looks as though people have stayed here recently.
Well, we might need to be on the lookout for others.
Gonna look closer at that and see how long it's been, if we can tell.
Okay. I would say probably hunting.
Okay.
Thank you.
That
At this point, Larry will probably pick up his torch and grab it now that we've all walked in.
Nope.
Oof.
Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, the fire pit is cold. So it looks like they haven't been here for at least a day, but outside of that, it's hard to tell. It doesn't look like there are any sleeping bags here that were left behind or anything.
Nope. I don't know either.
So, based on your estimation, it very well may be abandoned, and it's hard to tell if anybody's coming back or not.
You just have to definitely be
Well,
aware.
you just have to be wary, especially considering that we just broke down the door.
Look over at the Miragar and Larry and say, "You could cover the entrance with all kinds of brush again."
I mean, perhaps. Well, perhaps. I mean, for this, we might want to move some. I don't know if there's any crates of boxes, barrels around.
Or just some loose timbers.
That too.
Just don't trap us in here, please.
Yes, of course.
All right. So, are you guys planning on staying here for the night then?
I don't see any better option.
It doesn't feel foul like some of the other places that we've been to.
Also true.
All right. So, you all set up camp?
Larry will craft some sort of barricade for what used to be the door.
Okay. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff in here that you could use.
Oof.
To the best of your ability, you try to block off the entryway. You'd say you're probably pretty confident that it would impede any potential intruders. Although you look up and you see that the ceiling is exposed. So anybody who wanted to drop in probably could. But other than that, you know, if you just wanted to get through the door, then
Acceptable.
yeah, it's acceptable.
Could Aranel give it a shot?
Yeah, you could try.
Okay.
Did she have, say, a support die since... Oh, well, too late.
No, yeah, no.
I was gonna
I don't
say
know
since
if
she was
we're
building
diving.
off. She was
Yeah.
building off of what I made.
All these timbers
the-
are so rotten.
With the combined efforts of both Aranel and Larry, yeah, there's nobody getting in here. You're sure of it. So, you all bed down for the evening. Everybody, you probably take turns taking watch. However, the evening goes uneventful. So
God.
you all get a full night's rest, and the skies are clear, and everything is golden. Hey there, Tavern Goers, Moss here, and I just wanted to stop and thank you for stopping in for yet another story from Tales from the Dragon's Tavern. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, let us know what you think of the story, because that's the best way to support us, because I know that about that many of you are currently subscribed. So go ahead, make sure you subscribe, and if you want to see more content like us, that's the best way to get it. So go ahead and subscribe, like, let us know what you think, and let's get back to our adventure. Now, Miragar,
points were we supposed to get back at the end of last session?
whenever we start the gaming session, all of your fellowship points refresh, so that actually should allow a lot more
And stuff.
flexibility for you to be using your hope dice and stuff like that. So might not be quite as what's the word I'm looking for? Harrowing as you might think.
Yeah.
So all right. So full disclosure, I did roll a little die here behind my proverbial GM
I
screen.
saw that.
Yes, I saw
And,
the private roll.
Yeah, and
Nothing
yeah,
happened.
it turned out well. So your all's evening goes uneventful. You are unmolested, as it were, and you wake up the next morning bright and early. The birds are singing. It is a little chilly, as we are in September. The dew is set in on the grass, and you feel a little bit moist, but unharmed nonetheless. Miragar, you, my friend, given your efforts the previous day for your journey event, you actually gained 3 additional fatigue points.
Yeah, it's a lot for misfortune.
Yeah. So you are up to 5 fatigue. Dang.
Yeesh.
All right. So you all make your way down, and I don't believe there would be a travel roll necessary because you can get down to Tharbad pretty easily. It looks like the road there is pretty clear.
All right.
You can actually see it looming on the horizon. So we'll just go ahead and say boop boop.
All right.
So you travel for another day, day and a half, and come the afternoon of the second day, you can see Tharbad. Now you can see 2 towers which signify either end of the very famous bridge that crosses over the Grave Flood, looming over the walls, which are now dilapidated, falling apart. You can see blue banners flying over the walls, which are kind of falling apart. However, you can see just in front of you along the road, it looks like there is a relatively well-kept, or at least recently refurbished, gatehouse with a wrought iron portcullis. And you can see that there are 2 individuals standing guard. Both of them are currently wearing chain shirts. They're armed with shields and spears, and just keeping watch along the road.
Well, I do believe we were told that there is new management here, so let's hope they're friendly, I suppose.
Does that blue banner look familiar to anyone? Have we seen this before? Even though they're tattered, do we recognize it?
You can give me a lore roll or a riddle roll. Your choice.
I'm okay. at
Gandalf is a simp.
Lore, riddle. Okay.
I'll throw a riddle out there. See.
Oh wow!
We all succeed.
That feels like
Okay.
the first.
I got 2 actual successes on my success dice, which never happens for Thrush.
Aranel got Gandalf's simp, and then
was
everyone else just
amazing.
succeeded on their own.
Okay.
It's
So
a hard life for the non-elves.
you look at this banner, and it is on a. It's basically it's 2 semicircles split in the center, and a large what looks to be a bridge crossing over the center of this semicircle on a blue field, and this you can tell it's not a flag which has been used for a long time, but this is something that you had heard that the now leader of Tharbad, by the name of Gurno, captain of the Haven, that is a sigil that he has come to use.
And is he affiliated in any way, shape, or form with Gondor, Rohan, Breelands?
Let's see. You got. Oh my God. Yeah, you got a great roll. Yeah, you know that he's actually unaffiliated with either.
Okay.
Well,
Interesting.
So he's kind of an independent actor, as it were.
All right.
I recognize the sigil. I don't know if the man is friendly or not.
It seems he's taken over and nobody's stopped him.
Yes, well, I suppose the worst they can do is tell us no if we try to go through the gate and try to travel along this side of the river.
Finding a way across the Great Flood will be interesting unless we do it here. But
Well,
I guess we'll see.
quite.
Perhaps Aranel Silvertongue could, convince them.
All right. And so as you approach the gate, you see one of the guards step out and hold his hand out in a gesture for you to stop. He says, "All right, hold up. State your business."
We're just passing through.
Well, if you're passing through, you're going to have to pay the entry tax.
And what is the entry tax, may I ask?
10 silver pennies, which in game terms, that would be 1 treasure for each one.
Okay. Does that
Seems
seem?
fair enough.
Does that seem? Thrush is not fantastic with money, so does that seem just like okay, it's money?
What would we roll to see if that seems reasonable?
You can give me another riddle roll.
All right.
I'll attempt it. She's not great with riddle, but ooh, yeah, nope.
Okay, Miragar's the hot.
And it's not surprising if Thrush doesn't know. He's just like,
Yeah, so Miragar, you can tell that this seems like it's probably a racket. It's an incredibly high fee to gain entry to a city.
Miragar, is kind of quiet for a moment, and then, once the guy gives us the price of an admittance, we'll kind of step forward and be like, that seems rather high for just travelers through. I mean, who was it you said was in charge here now?
It's Captain Gurnow.
I don't believe he's associated with any of the great cities, so what does he use this money for, if I might ask?
Well, he's rebuilding Tharbad. And somebody's got to keep the bandits at bay. The Dunlendings from the south, got to keep them from crossing over and invading the north. That costs money.
That is all well and good. You're not going to get a lot of people who want to come to Tharbad once it is redone and beautiful if you're going to charge such a steep price for admittance. I feel like what you're saying should be good for the whole party, or good for the whole group, honestly. We're only really here maybe a day, maybe less than that. We're going to spend our money in town. I would hate to stop the growth of the economy in town by being taxed so heavily when we first get here.
Look, that's not up for me to decide. If you don't like the price, you can take it up with Gurnau himself.
I mean, if we can have an appointment with him, sure.
Right. Open the gate, and you hear a clanking from inside the gatehouse, and the portcullis slowly begins to creak up. And he says, "Follow me, and don't wander too far."
Okay.
And as you all enter, you can see, actually posted just on the outside of the gate, you can see this. It says, Captain Gurnau's rules. No fording the river for reasons of public safety. No disobedience or defiance. Those who dwell in Tharbad may not leave Tharbad without permission, and if they do not return promptly, penalties apply to their kin. No wasting food nor firewood. No sharing of the above. Tolls must be paid by peddlers, merchants, tinkersmiths, treasure hunters, knights errant, messengers, and all other strangers. Taxes must be paid by those who dwell within the walls to pay for maintenance and defense. In all other matters, the king's law holds.
All right.
Which king?
You'd guess that they, by referencing the king, they're referencing Gurnau.
Yep, that's kind of what I thought. That's why he kind of just muttered it to himself, just amused.
He seems a little full of himself.
So,
Indeed.
as you pass along inside the wall, you can see that you've entered what looks to be the outer districts of what was once a great city. The houses around here are no more. You can see little left but foundation. For probably the first 200 yards, it's nothing but remnants of old walls now broken and fallen in. Vines and reeds taking over what little structure is left standing. And just further in, you see what looks to be another wall. Probably, actually, if you all can give me probably a lore roll, those who want, I can tell you a little bit more about it. Okay. So, Aranel and Thrush, you can tell that just by looking at it, what's left of the outer wall was of it's very, very, very old, a very old make, probably of the men back in the Second Age. The inner wall is actually of much lower quality. Probably constructed sometime within the last couple of 100 years, maybe even the last 100 years. But it is... The craftsmanship on this is not nearly what the craftsmanship used to be. And as you continue forward, through the second wall, you pass through yet another gate, and this area looks to be a lot better kept. As you go through, you can see what looks to be a town market just off to your right. Several buildings enclose a much larger courtyard, which have tents set up where people are peddling their goods and services. And just off to your left, you see what looks to be a large palace. And the palace itself is plastered red. And you can see that the plaster is actually coming off to where you can see the brick which lies beneath. It's an old palace, definitely not kept up with.
Tacky, they'd use blue banners and have a red palace, but who am I to judge?
1 second.
Some people don't really understand those kind of details, Larry.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I'm no expert in decoration. You've seen my home, but it's just an odd choice to have your banners plastered all over the place, and there's such a clash.
As you all walk past the palace, you can see that the guard, he actually guides you through the doors of the palace.
That's amazing.
And you pass through what looks to be the entry hall, and just ahead you see a large set of double doors. And as you look around, you can see that the floor is almost like of a very pristine mosaic work, but it is in grave disrepair, almost as if there's a lot of water damage, which has lifted the tile work up from its foundation. As you step along, you can hear the tiles like creak and crack underneath the weight of your feet. And you pass through the door. It's a very warm room, and you can see a great hearth off to your right with a blazing fire in it. You can see 2 very long tables, which are just littered with bottles and cups and old dirty plates. And there's a few people who are sitting here just chewing on chicken legs and things of bread. A couple guys actually look as though they're passed out. At the far end of the hall, you can see a large chair, and just off to its right-hand side is a much smaller chair. In these chairs, you see an older man, probably in his 70s or so.
All right.
Looking much like that. Very, like I said, in his 70s, balding, very, very large beard, and a kind of a light blue tunic on. You can see around his neck is a golden collar, usually signifying some sort of sense of authority. And just off to his right, you can see an older lady as well.
All right.
And the look on her face is very uninterested in what's going on. But you can see as you enter, there is a man addressing Gurnow. He says, "My lord, Borlas has been taken to Tarth Gowron, just as you ordered." And you see Gurnow, he nods and says, "Good. Now off with you." And you see the younger guard nods and turns to a younger woman who is with him, also in kind of a chain shirt, but a gray cloak. As they pass, I'll have you give me an awareness roll real quick.
All right.
I'm not a fantastic awareness person.
Neither am I when I get an Eye of Sauron.
Missed it by 1.
Aranel's the only one that succeeded.
Okay. So as they...
I literally got 2 Eyes of Sauron and 2 successes. Or on the whatever on the other one. Wow.
Wow.
Did you really? Oh my god.
Yeah, look at my
Yeah.
roll.
You got the
That's
maximum
incredible.
on each side, basically.
That's incredible.
2 extremes.
As they pass, Aranel, you notice that the young woman, you'd guess that she's probably, as far as human years are concerned, she's probably in her late 20s, early 30s. Brown hair that goes down to about her mid-back, and it's kind of kept back in a long braid. She actually gives Thrush kind of a knowing look as they pass and exit the room. And the guard who is escorting you says, "My lord, these visitors seem to think your entry fee is, exorbitant. Is that right?"
Well, before
And he bids
anyone
you
does-
approach.
Before anyone does anything, Larry's going to make a courtesy roll. And he approaches and kind of just nods, bows, and says, I apologize for taking up your time. I see you have a very valuable operation here, but I was hoping if we could perhaps negotiate.
The fee's the fee. You can save your pleasantries for some court of some noble up north. I've got a city to run. Now, if you don't like the fee, perhaps we can work something out.
Familiar with the traveling band of merchants, the Rushlights?
Why don't you enlighten me?
Well, my family is a group of traveling merchants. Perhaps on their behalf, I could arrange some sort of supply deal for your settlement. A preferred customer discount, if you will.
How do I know you'll keep your word?
You just saw how polite I was here. Certainly that must be worth something to you. How many people are so willing to be so kind to a stranger they've just met?
I see that you're well trained in the courts of kings and lords.
Well, my family were traveling merchants, and they taught me some of the trade.
Be that as it may. This is a city in the decline, and we're trying to rebuild it. I understand that you have connections.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm certainly a new supply could go a long way towards helping your people and yourself.
I'm sure it could. But how are you going to do that when you can't leave?
Are you threatening us?
That Thrush is actually going to stand up a little straighter and actually kind of look at people for the first time. He's been kind of ignoring everyone and just looking at the stonework. He's just going to look at him and then size up the other people in the room.
And you see that there are several other guards in the room, and as you stand up, and as Larry asks if he's threatening, you see there are a number of guards. You look around, you count 6 guards in the room. They lower their spears at the group of you.
Okay.
We ask only for a nominal fee. If you don't want to pay it now, perhaps you can go to the ghost pit. Bring me what you find there.
What is the ghost pit?
It's in the outer districts on the north side of the river.
And what are you looking for?
Anything you can find. You can find something nice. Bring it back here and I'll consider it. But it's got to be good.
You ever heard of this? Or is it just like
Is it a local thing?
It's a local thing.
Known thing.
The ghost
It is
pit,
it is a local thing. If you want to give me a lore roll, you can.
Okay.
I mean, I've only got 1 in it, but screw it. I could always get a Gandalf.
I got a Gandalf.
Oh, well.
Okay.
At least somebody did.
Well, I only have 1
So,
die in lore, so I'm not surprised.
I think at this point, Miragar is kind of shrunken, kind of almost under Thrush's legs. You know, he's shrunken back a little bit.
So Thrush, you know that the ghost pit it's actually it's an old burial site. Of an old battle fought long ago. And it was basically a mass grave where the people of Tharbad threw many bodies. And then after the flood of 2912 came in, washed all of the dirt and mud and silt over this mass grave and turned it basically into a mud pit. And now, ever since then, it is said that every once in a while, some old artifacts will make their way to the top of this mud pit.
And he is going to say, and just look over at Aranel and the rest and say, I'm not in the habit of robbing graves.
Neither am I, if that's what he's implying we do.
This is a mass grave.
Bad
It's old.
fortune to do such. Well, I don't think we could take them all.
I mean, we did kill 3 trolls a few weeks ago. But I'd rather not resort to violence.
Yeah. Well,
If you want to rob the dead, do it yourself. Instead, you get to rob the living. And he's going to just reach into his pouch and pull out the whatever it requires, because he
Oh, the R roll? The intimidation?
no, he's just going to take
you're gonna
out
pay the treasure.
the money, and he's going to, because he has 4 points of treasure. He can use all 4 of them. And he'll place it down.
All right.
Bad luck generally comes to those who keep the treasures of the dead, and Miragar will take out a treasure himself and be like, I guess you're a little bit lucky today.
Well, it seems it's your loss. No new supplier for you.
He just remains quiet and watches all of you take your money out. Do all of you hand over 1 treasure?
Well,
He was
kind of
actually
like Thrush was going to pay
he was
for
putting it
everyone.
down for everyone because he has 4 points.
Oh, so you're just yeah.
Oh,
okay.
you're just gonna put them all down?
Yeah,
Okay.
he just puts the coins and everything that he's gotten so far down, and then he's going to stop and just look levelly at the guy, and now he's going to attempt an awe roll just to do it.
Okay.
So just look at him and just give him the slightest bow of the head, and he is going to mutter something under his breath, and then I'll tell you what it is after we do this.
Okay.
He is going to use a hope die on this, and he is going to try and roll. I want to make sure I'm doing
Are you
awe.
using your necklace?
Yeah,
Oh my
there we
goodness.
go.
Gandalf.
And a great success.
Nice.
And he just said under his breath, and anyone who speaks, I guess, it's
Cinderin?
It's Cinderin. I believe it's Cinderin. He just says, Ten Ambar Meta. It just means until the ending of the world. It's the end of Elendil's, basically his little oath.
All right. And with that, you see Gurnow kind of leans forward in his chair. He says, looks at you specifically, Thrush, says, what's your name?
Thrush.
He is a man of the
Thrush.
north, if that makes any difference.
He sits back in consideration. A man of the north? You mean a ranger?
He'll just nod. Take his spot back next to Miragar.
You know, your people aren't trusted around these parts.
He just raises an eyebrow.
You know, your head on a pike would really comfort my people. But out of the kindness of my heart, I'm letting you go. Keep that in mind. All right.
Yeah, we'll turn around.
All right.
I don't like this place, you guys. I think we
I
should-
don't either.
I agree.
Perhaps we should have Gandalf come through here at some point.
Maybe if he doesn't like Men of the North, I don't think he's gonna really like a wizard.
What's he gonna do to a wizard? Anyways, you have a pleasant day. I hope things turn around for the sake of your people. More than you.
He gives you a little bit of a glare, squints his eyes, and he remains silent. And you all exit his court, I assume.
Yes. And this is where Aranel makes a stealth roll and steals all of Thrush's treasure back.
I mean, she could probably do it, but
she considers
I'm
it.
watching that treasure like a hawk.
Does she do the Vizzini thing? What in the world could that be? No matter. No matter.
Inconceivable.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So as you exit,
You never mess with a hobbit when breakfast is on the line.
Or second breakfast.
Or second breakfast.
and as you exit, you look up and you notice that it is getting to the point where it is getting dark. You've got a couple of options. You could stay here if you wanted to. There is enough of Tharbad left that there's probably somewhere that you could stay here. And there are plenty of people who live here. Not a ton, but enough. And you've also got the option of going by road. Actually, you know what? There was something I meant to show you guys, and I completely forgot about it.
Well, I'm going to turn to Aranel and be like, did you know who that woman was? You seem to have some kind of recognition, and you seem to notice something.
Well, she did look at Thrush with a knowing look. Thrush, did you recognize her?
The old woman.
No, the young one that left with the
The
other
one wearing the
soldier.
cloak.
And he's just gonna look at all of you like, there was a young woman.
I mean...
He clearly has no idea what you're talking about.
Well, if she looked at Thrush, perhaps she's a fellow ranger. If nothing else, if we encounter her, perhaps she might have some words for us that might be helpful.
That is a cool map.
Perhaps.
It's a very cool map.
Yeah, wow, look at that.
Okay.
I
so,
see where he gets his symbol from.
And so you can see from here, looks like the bridge is, well, it's actually broken. So nobody actually crosses over the bridge. Making the way down to the river, there are several docks and piers where many people will travel by boat from north to south and to the middle island. You can see that just outside of the palace down the way, you can see something of a bustling building. It's called the Bridge Inn. You can see the sign dangling and swinging in the breeze. But you know that you've got a couple of options. If you can find someone to either lend you a boat or take you, you can travel along the Grey Flood down to Lond Daer. You've also got a road which stretches along the Grey Flood on either side of the river.
I wouldn't mind a good night's rest. I'm feeling pretty tired myself.
Yes.
And so you all are making your way to the inn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So as you enter the inn, you can hear that there is very loud music going on in here, and there are plenty of people in here drinking their worries away and being merry. And you see someone behind the bar.
Pippin.
Yes. And you can see someone behind the bar furiously cleaning glasses and stuff, and he looks up and locks eyes with all of you and puts the glass down and makes his way over to you. Timothy Titus at you, sir. Do you want any bloody thing to eat? No. Right to bed, is it? I won't murder you in your sleep, don't worry. And you can see, like, based on his demeanor, like, you can see, like, he's very excited to see you. Like, this doesn't...
Well, Timothy, I think maybe some hot meals and a mug of ale for all four of us here to start with, and maybe some rooms if we decide here shortly, or beds if you have them. But I think a hot meal and a mug of ale is first in order for us. And Miragar will put down some coins.
Please,
for
please,
everybody.
have a seat. And you can see that this guy is actually, he's not very well kept. His hair is, it's like shoulder length and kind of greasy, but he's got it slicked back to try and keep it out of his face. And he's got a scraggly beard that is very much unkempt. But he rushes back and grabs a couple of ales for you all and pushes past some of the other patrons who are just almost being a little bit too raucous. But he makes his way over to all of you with your drinks. And he says, well, what is it you'd like to eat? We got bread, cheese, lamb. We got some pork.
What are you in the mood for, Miragar?
See, Miragar sizes this guy up and goes, "How about just some bread and cheese?" I don't think I would trust this guy's cooking. Says Miragar. That you might see that cross his face there as you're all looking at him.
Start with something simple, and we'll see how we're feeling after.
Bread and cheese. Righto. All right, I'll be right back. And he rushes off back into the kitchen.
Miragar leans over to Aranel and goes, "You think for people living this close to the water, he probably bathed once in a while."
Perhaps he is allergic.
To water? Well, then he must live a very miserable life.
And you can see, as you kind of scan the room, you can see that the interior is very nice, as opposed to the exterior, which is very much dilapidated. You could see bricks missing from the outer wall. But inside, it's very comfortable. The proprietor here, Timothy, is very, very enthusiastic about what he's doing here. But you can tell that most of the guests are actually City Watch. Everybody in here has got some sort of chain shirt on. You see a collection of spears and swords laying up against the wall in the far corner. And you can actually see some of them eyeing your table, especially you, Miragar, and you, Aranel.
Yeah, I guess not many of them have probably dealt or seen hobbits or elves.
Well, I suppose not. Maybe
Yes,
they'll buy.
yeah,
Maybe they'll buy you drinks because you're novelties around here.
Potentially.
I have a feeling that they don't make a lot of money after taxes, just from talking to the captain.
You're probably right.
But I could be wrong.
Well, it looks like almost every client here is City Watch. I wouldn't be surprised if the proprietor had to give them a preferred customer discount, as it were.
Perhaps.
And just as you say this, Timothy brings back your bread and cheese. Not the troll, Timothy. I just now realized that the
He's back!
he's been reincarnated.
I was gonna say, Timothy must be a
He's been
popular
reformed. He's been reformed over the last couple of weeks.
It's like a bumble.
Sorry
brings-
for trying to eat you before.
And just as he brings you your bread and cheese, it's fine. Like, it's passable, nothing crazy. But just as he brings you this and you begin to dig in, you see one of the individuals who was addressing Gurnow just before you had left, or just before you had walk into the inn.
Is the woman with him? Or
Uh,
is he alone?
No, the woman is not with him. And you can see he makes his way over to the bar, grabs a drink, and kind of goes off and sits by himself. You look at him, and he's a tall and proud man, probably in his early 20s.
Well, I
But very-
hope you have a tab.
Were you talking to the man?
Yes, I was, because it seemed like he just took a drink without paying, right?
Oh well, no. I mean, the Timothy gave it to him.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Got it.
poured him the drink and handed it over to him, and he grabs it and goes and kind of sets off in a corner by himself. And you can see he kind of sits there. He takes a drink out of it and looks down into the glass and kind of swirls it around, takes another drink. And you can tell that it looks like he's deep in thought.
I'll approach him.
You see, he blinks and makes eye contact with you. Oh, he stands up, kind of straightens out his shirt.
Are you all right? You seem lost at the moment.
Yes. No, I'm fine. Just got off of long watches. All.
I don't mean to pry, but I did see you were speaking to the captain before our audience with him. I don't mean to imply anything, but it sounded like you dealt with someone for him.
Oh, yeah. Bolas. He. Well, I was commanded to lock him up because he was unable to pay his tax. So that's what we did.
I see. And what happened to him? Where is he?
He kind of squints his eyes at you and he says, "What do you want to know?"
Well, it just, based on your conversation, it sounded like he went somewhere other than just a normal prison, but I don't know this place, so I could be wrong.
Tarth Gowron. Yeah, it's the fort. And you would recognize, as you walked in, you would recognize there was a large stone structure with 5 towers that you could see even just walking down the street. It kind of towered above a lot of the other buildings. And based on his description, you would guess that's probably what it is. An old fortress.
Well, seems like an intimidating place.
I mean, that's where the prisoners are kept, yeah. That's the idea. Why the sudden interest?
You just seem like you're very doubtful about what you've done is all.
Make me a, I would say either a persuade or an enhearten roll. Your choice.
I'm equal in either, so I'll just pick one and I'll use a die.
Hey.
Oh, well, I get a Gandalf room, so.
All right, for enhearten.
Yes.
You see, at this point, he kind of gets a little bit more comfortable. He nods, and he says,
I'm
"Whoa."
just a traveler. I don't have any particular stake, but when I see a man who looks down, and well, I just am curious is all.
Well, I'll tell you this much: working under Gurnow was taxing. Forgive the pun.
I can imagine. He seems like a very demanding man.
It can be difficult, but it is what it is. We all get to eat when we go home at night, and we're provided for, and the city is safe. Say what you will about him, but we're safe here.
I mean, you are certainly safe, but are you thriving?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Me, I'm doing well.
Well,
I'm in here. And he gestures around to the rest of the city watch. They're all doing well.
Might I inquire how many prisoners you have locked up that are just people who couldn't pay their taxes?
Oh, 1 or 2. Most people
Alright.
around here, they come here with business. And they usually have something to trade. And therefore they have money for tax. That's all there is to it.
Alright. And you're sure you're happy here?
Yeah, of course. Give me an insight roll real quick.
Alright. I am okay at insight. I will, Aranel seems to help on this.
no.
That was
Yeah.
That's so many
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What the
dog.
heck?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep. That is 4 ones there, so I don't know anything.
Yeah. As far as you can tell, he is perfectly content with his job as lieutenant of the City Watch.
No, well, fair enough. The way you're looking at your drink says otherwise, but I don't know you, so I'm probably just misunderstanding.
Yeah, just got a lot on my mind is all.
Yes, well, if you're interested in joining my compatriots over there at our table, just to have new companions to talk to since we're out of town, by all means, join us.
You know what? Sure. And he
Oh.
looks over at Aranel and Miragar. Says, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a word with you all."
Well, please join us. More than merrier.
And he stands up and comes over and sits down at your table and kind of looks at you all expectantly.
I've made a new compatriot here. I believe you remember him. He was in the audience hall before us.
Oh yeah, you were walking out with was it with a lady you were with?
Oh yeah, Gwyleth. Yeah, she's one of my new hires.
Oh, Miragar Two-Step, nice to meet you.
Miragar, it's nice to meet you. And he grabs your hand and squeezes it just a little bit too tightly.
Sure, Miragar's probably used to that from time to time.
Oh,
He still kind of like takes his hand away and, yeah, nice to meet you.
And he looks over at Aranel and just kind of bows his head. "Milady?"
And she'll kind of just nod and offer her hand daintily. Aranel.
He grabs it and just kind of gives it one of these.
he doesn't want to hurt you.
And he looks over at Thrush and just kind of looks at your visage and then kind of looks down at... do you normally keep your necklace? Do you normally keep that hidden?
Yeah.
Okay. He just looks at you and gives you a nod.
And he just tips his head down. He's just smoking the very nice pipe.
That was the one treasure you were able to keep.
So, what brings you all in these parts? You come from... I assume you came from the north.
Oh, yes. Miragar and I are from Bree, and our friends are, well, from much further away, but they're good company, and we've come to become good friends with them. We are headed towards Lond Daer.
Lond Daer, huh? I tell you, it's much safer if you travel by river.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Do you have any captains, people with boats you could recommend?
No captains or anything, but I'll tell you what, go and talk to Jen. She's a bit of a nuisance to the City Watch here, but if you got something to offer her, she might take you.
Anything we need to know about this Jen?
A bit of a rapscallion, that one. She's covered in mud more often than not, but she knows the waters, and she's good with her word.
Well, I suppose that's more important than anything else.
When he mentions, she's covered in mud again, Miragar looks at Aranel and is like, look on his face. It's the river's right there. How are these
actually
people
gonna
dirty?
I'll talk to our new friend here and be like, I don't mean to be rude, but it does seem like a lot of people here don't bathe, even though you have a river right there. I don't suppose you considered bathing the same thing as trying to ford the river.
No, well, between you and me, a lot of these people around here are, they're used to a different life.
I see.
And some people keep to their ways.
Well, fair enough, I suppose. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to let them know it is an option, and being bathed does keep you from getting sick, which, when you're in a closed space like this, tends to be a good thing.
Yeah, and well, that's why I tend to keep to myself. The smell of some of these men,
Well, do you
right
at least...
distasteful.
I can see that. Do you at least make sure your fellow guardsmen are well groomed? As much as they can be.
There's only so much authority I have over them.
Are
I
you
can
the-
dispatch them, but you can't control them.
I suppose not. So I understand you're some kind of officer in these guards. Are you the one who's actually in charge, though?
I have a semblance of authority. Say, in Gurnow's absence, I'll take command. Oh, how rude of me, Tom. Tom Brass.
Oh, yes, of course. Larry Rushlight. My apologies. We were just having such good conversation.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had any sort of pleasant dealings with people.
So, I got a question. How long has Captain Gurnow been in charge of Tharbad? I haven't heard any news up north that... Well, I guess we just received news not too long ago that there was a semblance of rebuilding going on. How long has this all been happening?
Oh, a few years now. So
And have you seen a lot of people seeking, refuge or trying to become part of the town, or has it been, the original settlers?
A lot of these men here came with Gurnow when he occupied the place. And some of them were residents here beforehand. Say it was a change in leadership. The old lord's name was Fleet. I forget his first name. But apparently his son lives down in Lond Daer.
Was it a peaceful exchange of authority?
Yeah, of course.
Do I think he's being honest?
You mean insight roll?
I don't think Miragar cares to know.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it was peaceful. It was all okay. They broke bread together.
I'm
The other guy
sorry.
went on his way. It sounds great.
I mean, with an eye of Sauron, I almost got it, but yeah.
So close.
Does anyone else? Well, if anyone else cares.
Aranel can try, but it's one of her worst. Yeah, nope.
I almost thought the
You know-
Gandalf room was gonna show up.
Reading the intentions of men is not the strong suit of elves.
Especially not a young elf.
Yeah.
126 is still
Yeah,
young
so-
for us.
As far as you can tell, I mean, he's being truthful.
Huh, well,
Okay.
fair enough. I suppose that's good to hear.
Yeah, Miragar asks, why is it legal to forge the river? I know the bridge is broken, but why couldn't somebody... I mean, is it illegal to live on the other side of Tharbad and just
No, we
traverse
just-
the river?
We just don't want people wading around in it. It's dangerous. And sometimes some debris
and
breaks
things.
loose and floats down river. People have died in the river.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, on the other side of the river, it's there's not a whole lot over there. Agna's got her old library down there, and there's another inn.
Must be a little bit of a task to collect taxes from that side of the river, huh?
Yeah, you might think so, but there's guards stationed over there as well.
Huh, alright. Fair enough. How often do you find yourself having to go over there, or do you have people that take care of that for you?
I'll usually go over there once a day.
All right. I take it then the god has their own boats.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, we've got our own boats. Nobody's allowed near them for
Oh, of course.
obvious reasons, but
Of course.
every once in a while I'll head over there, check on the status of my men, and when needed I'll head over to the Pillar of the Two Kingdoms. It's just a little thing if I've got to, deal out justice.
What is the Pillar of the Two Kingdoms?
Oh, it's just a column on the other side of the river. It's a old monument from the old days, but normally that's where we do our floggings.
I see. Well, I suppose it would be a good place for everyone to see, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's not a good business, but we do what needs to be done. Thieves and brigands.
Of course.
They got to be dealt with too.
While they're doing all this, Thrush is just slowly but surely eating slivers of cheese and pieces of bread.
I think at some point in this transaction, Miragar would maybe next time Timothy comes around be like, "How much for 4 beds, Timothy?"
Oh, yeah, of course. And he gives you a little price. It's not worth 1 treasure, so it's easily affordable.
All right.
Yeah, Miragar will pay that, secure a couple beds for everybody this evening, and ask Tom here. So you said Jan is a good one to look at, maybe procuring a boat for our group. Where can you usually find her, maybe during the day?
She's usually wandering around the river or around the outer districts looking around.
What does
She's
she
kind
look
of
like?
a free spirit,
What did you mention? She had brown hair, or?
Yeah, she's got kind of shortish, scraggly brown hair, and I rightly don't know if that's the natural color or if it's just mud.
Well, fair enough.
But you can either find her around the river, or she's been known to wander around the house without windows in the ghost pit.
She hangs out at the ghost pit.
Looking for baubles and things. Stuff to
Well.
trade,
Well, fair enough. She's a
So
brave one, I
really-
suppose.
Is there really that much treasure in the ghost pit?
Every once in a while, it's been known to wash up something. There's a lot of old warriors down in the bottom of that pit.
Seems a shame to rob them.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to
mean,
mess
you
with
wouldn't-
that kind of omen either, but to each their own, I suppose. They're dead. They don't need them anymore.
Well, very pragmatic, but I tend to agree with Aranel here.
Anyway, I think I really should be getting on. It was a
Of
pleasure
course.
meeting you all.
Yes, thank you for entertaining just a bunch of travelers.
Yeah, of course. Please, if you have any more questions or anything like that before you leave, please seek me out come day.
I appreciate that, Tom. Thank you very much. You've been quite friendly, thankfully.
He nods and stands up and heads out of the inn.
And my fellow rangers think I'm too loud and talk too much and ask too many questions. Look at Larry.
Well, it's a new place. I don't know much about it. I thought more information's valuable.
It is, but this isn't Bree.
Perhaps
No,
not. Well,
but it's-
that's my point exactly, Thrush.
Exactly. It's incredibly dangerous here.
I
Every
don't.
question you ask gives information to them.
Yes, well, we get something in return as well.
Is it worth it?
Thus far, I believe so. I get the sense that this man isn't all that satisfied with this place.
He hasn't moved on.
No, he hasn't, but if things happen, perhaps it would be good to have a friendly face around.
I think
Well,
the
look
friendly
at-
face we're going to find is very muddy.
Yes, well, I suppose so.
I'm gonna start a bathhouse.
You know, that probably might be that would be a way to make money. Although, based on what they said, I'm not sure if that many people would visit.
And then I would know who I could be trusted in town.
I mean, do you trust
Because
Thrush
it
yet?
rained. It rained. At least Thrush washed his hair in the rain. It rained the other day.
I've fallen into the river more than once with you now. I've bathed and
Exactly.
I suppose that does count, Miragar. I suppose that does count.
And at this
Anyway,
point,
I've secured beds for all of us for the evening, so
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you,
rest
buddy.
here.
Thank you,
and
friend.
it's at this point you see that people are beginning to filter out.
Hmm.
A lot of them are retiring up to their already secured rooms. You can tell that actually a good number of them are staying here, and you'd guess probably a lot of them stay here permanently.
I'd probably wave Timothy over and be like, how many free rooms do you actually have, since it seems like half the city watch sleeps here?
Oh, well, they're all friends of mine. I don't mind.
Well, fair enough.
There's plenty of room.
I was just curious is all. I suppose it's good to have repeat customers, as it were.
Yeah, of course. Customers. And he turns around and walks away.
Put a hand on his shoulder and be like, they don't pay you, do they?
That's pretty good in this city. Give back. It'll come back to you in the end.
I mean, I suppose so. Do they at least pay for food and drinks? You have to restock on that at least.
Oh, most of the time.
Alright, well. Thank you, Timothy. I'm sure the rooms are quite
Aranel's
nice.
gonna subtly leave some coin on the table, like a treasure's worth of coin. So, like,
Do you make it obvious to him?
no, she's being subtle. Do you want a stealth roll?
No, not necessarily. If you want to
Okay.
just, yeah, if you want to just like leave it there
Just
under
like
a napkin
hide it
or-
behind one of like the
Find a glass or something.
yeah signs. And,
Leave it in an empty mug.
yeah, maybe not in the mug, but just like kind of obscured by the mug, so it's not plainly
Now we get to
obvious.
see if the next day it's still there.
All right. So with that, you all retire and head to your respective rooms, and we are going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Welcome, tavern goers, and thank you for listening to this Tales from the Dragon's Tavern production. I am JJ, and I just wanted to ask that if you are enjoying our content, that you go subscribe to our Patreon, Tales from the Dragon's Tavern, where we are making it our one-stop shop for all of the content we plan to produce. As we grow and we are able to give you more content, we will probably update our memberships, but for now, it'll be free. And it'll give you access to all our social medias, our Discord channel, and all of those places that you can get our content, but we're going to make sure it's all in one spot for you as well. Cheers, and I hope you enjoy Tales from the Dragon's Tavern.
All right. So you all wake up the next morning feeling surprisingly refreshed. There was a little bit of raucousness going on downstairs throughout the night, but regardless, your beds were relatively comfortable, and you wake up feeling pretty good. Sun streaks through the windows, and you can already smell the scent of roasted pork coming up through the cracks in the floor.
Smells like breakfast.
Well, Miragar, shall we have your first breakfast?
Yeah, I think we could probably do with the pork. It sounds like it's been on the spit at least today. I don't know if I trusted what pork you would have brought us last night.
Well, You're the one with the good tastes around here. You can let us know how it is.
Right.
Will do.
And you wake up and head on downstairs. Timothy is there, as he is all day, every day. And he addresses you and says, "Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. I trust that your stay was comfortable. No one stole any of your possessions over the course of the night."
It was quite comfortable. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, good, good, good. Can I interest you in some food, some breakfast? We've got some nice tomatoes and crispy bacon. And perhaps a mug of ale to warm the belly?
Wow, that sounds like the best breakfast I've had in a while, honestly.
Ah, yes, 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 of course. Please, 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 have a seat. Have a seat. I'll go
Thank
grab
you.
it.
Are you looking at your table, Aranel, to see if he found your tip?
Yeah, did he clean off the table we were at last night?
Actually, no. The table is still... a lot of the tables have not been cleaned off.
Ah, silly man.
Is Aranel gonna take her money back, or is she just gonna be like, he'll find it eventually?
Nah, she'll leave it.
He'll
Hopefully
find
he
it
finds it.
in like 3 months when he finally cleans that table.
Oh, look, money.
Um,
Alright,
so
so I
he runs
suppose...
up and grabs your food, brings it back, and it's actually pretty good.
Excellent.
Does it get the Miragar seal of approval?
Yeah, definitely. Bacon's nice and crispy.
Alright, excellent. Well, I know how you are, friend, so we'll see if there's any sort of pastry shop before we find this Jan person.
All right, so you all make your way out. What is the first order of business?
Get Miragar a second breakfast.
I was
We'll
gonna
find
say
that
find-
along the way.
Find the girl who's
Pastries.
muddy, but
Yes.
priorities.
Find the muddy girl. Jan is her name. Hopefully she's not in the graveyard right now. I'd rather not go there.
I guess before we leave, Miragar will go up to Timothy and be like, "Is there like a market around here? Or in town?"
Oh yeah, it's actually just down the street. It's in the middle of a big plaza.
All right. We'll, I guess, head that way. I guess we should check what Tom said Jan normally hangs out before we see if she's in the ghost pit. I'd rather probably avoid that if we could.
I tend to agree.
All right. So you're making your way where? Down to the river?
The market first.
Oh, the market first? Okay. So you make your way up the street, and you can see enclosed in what looks to be a courtyard. There are several tents that are set up. You see many people selling fish, fruit. You do actually see that there is someone who is selling baked goods.
Oh, I just realized I forgot to actually rest last night.
Isn't doing it anything.
Yeah, we're all full health anyhow, but
Yeah. Well,
might
So
as
how do
well.
we get rid of our fatigue again? Is that during fellowship phase or?
yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
stuck with it for the whole
fatigue.
adventure.
Yeah, so the fatigue lasts until the very end, and then once you reach the end of the adventure, you can take off, like if you've got a horse with you, which actually, which one of you has a horse? Larry, is it you that has a pony?
Yes, I technically have a horse.
Okay,
because of
so
my
yeah,
standard of living.
once you reach the end, then you can subtract that, their vigor rating from your overall fatigue.
Okay.
And I regenerated 2 since we're gonna get fellowship points back anyways.
Okay. All right. What are you looking for here in the market?
I think Miragar just grabs a couple loaves of like fresh bread and maybe some fresh fruit as second breakfast, or whatever to have throughout the day.
All right. And easily enough, you do find there is someone who's selling fresh bread, a few different sweets and pastries. You've also got some apples, oranges. Well, probably not oranges around here. But you got some fresh apples and different fruits of the like that would grow in this region.
Yeah, he grabs probably, a little bit of almost everything, and, maybe his little traveler sack he just makes sure is full of fresh goodies.
He makes sure to eat all of that before he finds treasure, so then he can put the treasure in the sack after.
Oh, he's gonna eat all of
Exactly.
it before he finds jam. So Lond doesn't get all
Not surprised.
of it.
You guys want it? Just kidding, it's all gone.
Keep in the river before you touch my food.
All right, you have everything you need, buddy.
He's got a pastry in his mouth.
That means yes.
There
If you guys didn't realize. All right, let's go
I
find
got it.
Jan by the river.
Yeah, Thrush has mostly been paying attention to how the city was. He's just imagining what the city was like at its height.
Mm-hmm.
Because, this is, a lot of these things, his forebears, they built these
Mhm.
things. It must have been incredibly impressive, and it's fallen to such a low state.
Yeah, and you can tell that, especially on this side of the river, the buildings here are sturdy, well built. You can tell that what this city used to be, it was a very highly regarded city. And you can tell as you make your way down to the docks, the only docks which are here right now are wooden ones which have been built recently. The old docks, and you can see there's actually some old docks that used to be used that are now just falling apart. Very large and grand docks where large riverboats and barges would make port and unload their goods and reload up to bring back down the river or up the river for that matter. But right now, the river there's very little traffic going on the river. You see a boat or two going back and forth. And while you're looking, go ahead and give me a scan roll, if you would. Anybody.
It's not a very good roll. Hey.
Gandalf!
Gandalf. All right.
I know
So-
where all the Jans are.
You all are looking at the city and kind of looking at it how it used to be. The two towers which span either side of the bridge are still standing. Stones missing here and there, but overall, you could tell that these two towers were something special. Helkar and Ringil were the two towers. However, Larry, you look down and you can see it looks like in one of the boats that you spotted on the river there's a small form, very dirty in the face, short and shaggy hair, or not short but kind of shoulder length shaggy hair that is very unkempt, and she's kind of paddling on her boat with a small oar, making her way across with a small sack towards your side of the river from the center island.
All right. I will point her out to the rest of the group and be like, well, let's see where she's going to dock, as it were, and introduce ourselves.
And soon enough, she docks, ties up her boat, and unloads her little sack.
On this side?
Yes.
Okay. Just making 100% sure.
Excuse me, miss. Are you the one named Jan?
Oh, yes. Who's asking?
Oh, we are. We heard that you know these waters quite well and could get us all the way to Lond Daer. For the right arrangement, of course.
To Lond Daer. Interesting. Well, they don't call me the frog for nothing. And she holds out her hand.
Yeah, Larry will take it.
Jan the Frog. That's what they call me. You're on your way to Lond Daer?
That's the plan, yes.
Well, turns out I've got some business with old Johann Fleet down there. I'd be happy to take you.
Oh, well, thank you. Do you need to make any preparations before?
Oh, no, of course not. I just got to make this really quick delivery from Mr. Gray, and yeah, we'll get right to it.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, and she kind of makes her way off. Go ahead and give me an awareness roll real quick.
All of us or just me?
Everybody who's kind of in the vicinity.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I don't have enough die. But Aranel does.
I have all of the die.
All the die.
All right, Aranel, Thrush, and Miragar. All three of you, as she makes her way up the stairs, you can tell that this sack, you can hear a little bit of jingling in the sack.
Oh no.
Interesting. Thrush is more looking at the boat. He's interested in how waterworthy it is, and then he realizes, he looks at Larry and says, "Did you talk price?"
I mean, I told her that we'd come to some arrangement, but she almost made it sound like she's going to Lond Daer anyways, and she wouldn't charge us. But I guess we'll find out.
Didn't Tom mention what the previous leader's name was Fleet something, and then she just mentioned somebody by the name of Fleet.
Yes.
What she did. I wonder.
After about 10 minutes or so, she comes back and says, all right, pulls up her pants and straightens out her suspenders. You ready to go?
No, she's just a man. She's a man. She's not a hobbit. She's not a...
She's a human, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Mhm. From what you can tell, yeah.
Through the
You
mud.
see- yeah, you can see that, I mean, her face is just caked. And she's not the most pleasant smelling, but she smells a lot like fish.
Could be worse.
Yeah,
Control.
I've definitely, yep, we've encountered worse because of that. So what do we owe you for this?
Oh, me? Oh. I guess I hadn't thought of that. I'm sure I'll think of something. Come on, let's go.
All right. You're not
Hope
going to
everybody
strand us.
else-
You're not going to strand us out in the middle of nowhere if all of a sudden you decide to charge us quite a bit now, are you?
She puts her hands on her hips. She says, of course not. Do I look like that kind of type of person to you?
No, I suppose not, but you never know.
I told you I got business I need to see to down in Lond Daer anyway, so
All right. Well, thank you very much then.
might as well have some company, right?
I
More
suppose
to
so.
marry you.
Fair enough.
And Thrush is going to make sure everybody else gets in the boat before he
Did
gets...
any of you mention to Larry what you noticed in the bag, or just out of curiosity, or is he?
Thrush didn't say anything. He just assumes he knows what it was, so he's just...
Yeah, Aranel just mentioned like an oh no, but I don't know
Okay.
if she would have made that assumption.
I think Miragar may have thought it was just gold or, something of that nature.
Gotcha.
You know what they say about assuming things.
Well,
And the boat, you can see, is relatively small. It is
bigger
seaworthy.
than our?
It
Is it
floats.
bigger than our rowboat?
No, it is a rowboat.
Let's hope we don't fall out. Getting back into
Jen,
it.
I do have a question. You don't get a lot of trolls in the river, do you?
What sort of a question is that? Of course not.
That's what I thought. I just, sometimes just
What my short friend here means to say is we had a previous experience involving a boat and a troll, surprisingly enough.
Interesting. You know, they do say that there were or are some great beasts who dwell in this river. I've never seen it, so don't worry about it.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll be the unlucky people who get to experience it.
Well, let's hope not.
I would rather not that be the case, Larry.
I don't disagree, Miragar, but, boats and us haven't had the best luck in the past.
Well, it doesn't help if you jinx us.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be quite fine. We've got Chan the Frog here.
Alright. You'll be the blame, though. If anything happens, I swear.
Fair enough. So you can use me as a life raft or something. I'll even be half drowned if that's what it takes to repay the debt.
All right. So, you all get in the boat and you make your way down. And
Now Jan has to make rules for us.
this is actually a very swift flowing river. So you don't actually, you notice that this is pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah, I can't imagine
So
it's easy to sleep in a boat like this.
So you travel for a couple of days, and I'm going to make some rolls on my end.
How many great misfortunes are we going to get this time? Uh-oh.
Shortcut!
Oh, okay.
We haven't gotten that one yet.
That is new.
All right. So, as you are moving about, you notice that the river actually splits, and while it doesn't show it on the map, the river splits two different ways. I'm gonna need let's see, who is the scout? Miragar.
No.
Use that hope. You got a lot your Hobbit.
Miragar, I'm gonna need just a general explore roll, and you're gonna kind of basically the idea behind this is you're kind of surmising the landscape and taking into account all kinds of different factors to see which way would be the best way to go.
Well, I have 2 points in that, and it's favored, so
Nice.
YOLO.
can't go completely wrong.
Okay.
It was close.
Well, I don't think anything bad happens. We just don't get a benefit.
Okay. So you don't actually gain a benefit for that. And normally you would gain 1 fatigue, but considering you are in a boat, it doesn't matter. Jan just kind of goes her own way that she normally does. She says, "No, I've never been down that way. What do you ask?"
I was just curious. Looked like it may be a little bit of a swifter current.
I've never been down that way. Who knows? There might be a river monster down there.
Well, then I think the way you're going is just fine.
All right. And you go for about 2 days. You get another one. And so basically, mechanically, how I'm treating this is since you are on the river, I'm treating this as a borderland.
Okay.
Which means that you roll 2 and take the higher, which is typically good news.
Ooh. Okay.
That's always nice.
Look out.
Chance me.
All right, Aranel. Don't mess
All
up.
right. Aranel, go ahead and give me an awareness roll.
Alright. I knew I should have burned a hope. Oh. Dang it.
Well, nothing happens.
Okay. All right. So you see As you're moving down the river, you actually see a company of people paddling upriver. But it looks like they're in sort of like a covered barge. And you see some oars kind of jutting out some portholes in the side. And you don't actually see anybody on deck. And you just keep on going, keep on trucking. And this continues for another couple days. And eventually, you come in to Lond Daer.
Have we been having any conversation with Jan along the way?
If there's anything that you would like to talk to her about, you can.
I'm gonna ask you, it's like, so this person you have business with, Fleets, that name sounds familiar.
Oh. His pappy used to be the leader of Tharbad.
How are things under him compared to the current administration?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't around.
Oh, alright. How long have you been in Tharbad?
A couple years now.
Huh, alright.
Made my way in from down south.
Huh. Have you always been this talented at boating?
I make do.
Huh. Fair enough. Might I ask what your business with this fleet is, or is that too personal?
Give me I guess a persuade roll.
Okay, just a straight persuade roll?
Yeah.
Okay. Gandalf!
Damn Gandalf.
Yeah.
We'll just say I need to get something from him.
Alright, fair enough.
He's the wealthiest man in Lond Daer, you know.
Ah, I didn't.
Apparently he's got some sort of really large manor. One of the largest in Lond Daer. Of course, there's not really a whole lot in Lond Daer to look at. But if there's anything to look at, it's his house.
I see. Does he seem like a friendly enough person?
Oh, I don't know. I've never met him.
How are you doing business for a man you've never met?
Yeah. That's for me to know and him not to find out.
Interesting. Oh, as long as it doesn't get us in trouble.
Oh, no, of course not. You're not planning on coming back with me, are you?
I mean, I guess we'll find our own way back then.
Just don't follow me anywhere, and I think you'll be all right.
All right.
All right. Do you have any other questions or anything for Jan?
Just mostly interested in how she handles the boat.
She's actually quite deft at handling the boat. You see any obstacles, any branches or rocks or shallow water, she definitely navigates around. It's actually been a very smooth ride. You make camp on a few gravel bars that you see lining either side of the river every night. But other than that, I mean, it seems pretty uneventful.
Okay. That's good.
All right, and on the 5th day, you can see Lond Daer in the distance.
Probably
And-
after that exchange with Jan, Laird turns to Miragar and is like, is everyone from that city so horrible?
Well, most hobbits, and I find myself falling into that trend. You can definitely judge a person's character by how well they bathe. Nobody there bathes, which I just find weird.
That's fair.
And as the town of Lond Daer comes into view, it can already be seen that its current form is but a shadow of the ancient Numenorian port city of Vignalonde that it used to be. The remnants of 5 white towers on the northern shore of the river Gwathlo reach towards the sky like the fingers of a giant's hand. The southern shore is home to the greater settlement of Lond Daer. Huts and houses built of good and sturdy stone stand defiantly against the power of the sea. Docks made of new wood jut into the river while fishermen bring the day's catch in for the night's supper. The air is thick with the scent of fish on rack and in the pan. The tide is high at this hour, but you would suspect that the old city may show itself once the water recedes. And you can see in the distance a couple of things. One, as I described, you see 5 white towers, very closely constructed, put together on the northern shore. You can also see what looks to be a large manor in the town proper on the southern shore. And on top of a hill, you see what looks to be an old villa surrounded by an earthen embankment, almost like a rampart, that seems to keep watch over the city. And at this point, Jan kind of points out, that up there, that's where Queen Nimue lives.
Is that name familiar to any of us?
You can give me a lore roll if you want.
Yeah, interested, not certain.
I definitely don't know.
Aranel knows all things.
Oh, wow. Aranel. Both Aranel and Thrush, you both know and have heard of Queen Nimue, who actually is made famous for slaying a great serpent that dwelt in the old city below the surface of the water. It is said that she keeps a souvenir from the beast in her home. But for the deed of slaying this great beast, she was made queen.
Is she a human or an elf?
You guys would know that she is human.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, sounds like quite the woman. I don't suppose she's one of your kin, Thrush.
I don't know specifically.
As Jan pulls the boat into port and ties it off to keep it from flowing out into the wide ocean, you all see that the bay here extends out into the great sea. And you can see Jan gets out and she says, "All right, well, I'm off to do my business. Maybe I'll see you again. Ta-ta." And she rushes off towards the large manor-like house, kind of off to the southernmost side of town. And you can see, it looks as though there is a child approaching you, barefoot, but wearing a bright blue cloak and a knightly tabard. And it looks like he's got a knife at his side. And he makes eye contact with you all and is heading in your direction.
Okay.
Does his tabard have a standard we might recognize on it?
Yeah, you can give me another lore roll if you want.
Just in case.
I mean, I'll attempt it, although I literally have nothing more.
Okay.
Rush is the wanderer. He's nailing these.
He's seen things.
The elf is also pretty good for most of them. I also have 5 dice.
Oh. It helps.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can see this tabard actually has it looks like it's got a number of towers which jut straight up, 5 of which kind of surround one larger central obelisk. This Thrush specifically, and I guess Aranel, you would recognize this as the standard or crest for Lond Daer.
Okay.
And he approaches you, and you can see that this is no child, but this is, strangely enough, a hobbit. And he approaches you all and looks at Miragar. Falmir Fairbarns, at your service. What can we do for you, strangers?
Miragar Two-Step. Pleasure to meet you. We are just coming to town. Who are we looking for?
We're looking for some mad astrologer.
Heather.
Well, we're looking. Yeah, there was more than one person because Gandalf said he had talked to the astrologer that was talking about Jack, but we were also looking for a relative of the Heathers.
Oh, the Heathers.
yes.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Astrologer?
Yes,
Are you talking? Are you talking about a Glayan?
could be.
And at this point, he looks around at all of you, and he looks at you, Larry, and he says, begging to pardon, but can I ask your name?
Larry Rushlight.
And you see his eyes get real big. He says, please, follow me, follow me. And with that, he turns around and makes his way up towards the large villa on top of the hill with the earthen embankment surrounding it.
Is that where the frog lady's headed?
No, she was going to the manor.
Ah,
This is the queen's house, I believe.
huh. All right. Should
And-
we mention anything about her to the guard? I mean, it's not
Probably
necessarily
not.
it's not necessarily our business, but I don't trust that she's doing anything beneficial.
You know, she did us a bit of a favor, and I guess as long as she doesn't hurt anybody.
All right, fair enough.
But if we do find out somebody gets hurt, we can definitely
I'd say
say
that's
we
wise
might know a
counsel.
suspect.
I'd say that's wise counsel. All right, follow the Hobbit.
And as you make your way up, Falmir, he tells you that. We're on our way to the Queen's Hall. Queen Nimu is very proud but very just. Just show reverence whenever you're in her presence, and don't steal anything.
Most certainly, we would not want to get the eye of the Serpent Slayer.
With that, he kind of looks back at you and raises an eyebrow. Huh. It seems her reputation has spread further than I thought.
Well,
Indeed.
my compatriots here are well traveled and know a thing or two. They just shared that with me.
I've read many books.
All right, and as you make your way up, you can see you make your way through a gap. A small drawbridge is lowered that exposes a gap in this earthen wall. And you make your way through, and you can see a large villa. You guess it's very, very old, probably of a certain craftsmanship that is no longer present and can no longer be achieved. You can see several outer buildings. Some off to your right are very closely grouped together, probably used as storehouses or something along of that nature. You also see a large watchtower off to your left, with a few other buildings kind of surrounding it. You make your way into this villa, and you can see that this place is very ornate. There's a very fine mosaic floor with large chandeliers and sconces of various shapes and sizes, lots of white stones and marbles, and fine carpets, believe it or not. A large brazier burns in the center of what looks to be a gathering hall, and at the very end, you see a large chair on an elevated platform. And in this chair sits a woman, blonde of hair, and at her side sits a very, very fine spear. And just above her, you see the souvenir which you were reminded of. The skull of a giant serpent, probably 6 foot across. And as you enter, you can almost feel the gaze of this serpent peering down at you. And that is where we're going to call the session for this week. So, next week, we're going to pick up with an audience with Queen Nemu.